Anyway, this was supposed to be our Kentucky Derby episode. It doesn't matter. I make a theme for each episode. And
I wore a horse.
I saw that.
Right.
And I was like, all right, I guess I got to get the hats out of my car. We're going to have a shot of bourbon in front of us. What are we drinking that?
There we go. So you're making a mint julep, is that right?
Originally was.
That was the original plan. Now we're just doing Kentucky straight bourbon.
Yeah, it's Kentucky straight bourbon.
Jason,
Right
did you tell me at one point that you used to serve drinks, or you used to be in the service business like that?
So I actually still do.
Hospitality?
I don't talk about this, on real estate forums, but I mean, I'm fine too. But yeah, so
You have experience with
I
bartending and stuff.
bartend at the Moody Center.
That's right.
And as much as like once a week, twice a week. It's just really fun. I just like the atmosphere. It's different than my regular work, and I don't know. I've always been all about having side hustles. I think everyone should have
That's awesome.
side hustles if they don't have like a family and people like that depend on them. Or maybe if you have that, maybe you need side hustles more, honestly. Anyhow, so
I want to bring it back to the conversation we were having right before we started, right?
So let me introduce our guest.
Yeah,
real
let's do
quick,
that.
and then let's get that conversation back. So our guest today, Austin Davis. Say hi so the camera can pan to you.
What's going on?
All right. So he's the #1 pressure washer in the city. Am I
Don't
right?
waste that bourbon on me.
Okay. All right. Well, you're gonna get an empty cup.
I'll probably pass on it. So.
It's fine. It's gonna sit in front of you anyway.
Okay.
There we go.
That'll be your second drink. Okay.
It would go well with the peach. Anyway, yeah, it's gonna be my first.
Tell us about Austin.
And anyway, so are you the #1 pressure washing company in the city? Am I right? Now that you've merged,
I mean, #1 is all relative. It depends how you
as
define
far
that.
as volume.
Probably, yeah.
All right, definitely #1 on Google.
What's the name of the company?
Activate pressure washing.
All right.
And he also has a very poppin' YouTube channel where he teaches hopeful pressure washers about the business and how to expand on it, how to make more money, how to do things like that. So then that kind of led him down a hole where now he's doing small business coaching for similar industries as well.
Yeah.
And now I want you to take it away from there because
Well, I mean, give me a question.
he also
because
rented a house from me recently.
Yeah, I'm better on questions because what typically can happen is I can just start going, and I don't want to, know. So, what do you want to know?
Well, so you got the power washing business going. That's awesome. And then I'm just trying to make sure I understand. So then everything was going well, expanded the business. You mentioned a merger. Tell us about that. What happened?
Well, I guess I can start from the beginning. So I was in car sales for a couple of years from 2017 and 2019. Was doing pretty well there. Then at some point, I just got tired of just sitting at the desk for 80 hours a week. In the car, anyone who's been in the car business or knows about it, just knows what the grind is. I mean, you live in the car dealership. But the good news is you don't need any degrees. They'll hire anyone as long as you're wearing a shirt. You can walk in there and get a job, right?
Gotcha.
And the potential is like limitless. Like there's people making $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 a year selling cars. It just depends what you make of it. Anyway, I was there for 2 years, and I was sitting at my desk, and I saw a YouTube video on my feed, and I saw this kid that made $300 pressure washing a driveway, and this was like late 2018, early 2019. I was like, man, this kid is pressure washing a driveway for $300. I'm here at the dealership all day, in which if I sell one car, I might make $300. It could be more, it could be less. But this kid just did it in an hour. And so that kind of what started the whole thing. Like my off days were Thursdays and Sundays. I picked a Sunday, went to Home Depot, got a power washer, hit the streets, print marketing, door to door, all that stuff. That was in 2019. A couple months after I started the power washing business, I left the car dealership and went full time. Should have stayed at my job a bit longer because I went through some financial struggles, but was able to come out the other side. So I ran my own company called United Exterior Cleaning for 4 years. It wasn't until this year where I partnered with actually a good buddy of mine, someone who, whenever I first got into the business in 2019, I went and called him and a couple other companies back in 2019 and said, hey, look, I'm a new guy on the streets. Don't mean to step on anyone's toes. Look, I just want to see if I can pick your brain on some things. I'm trying to start the business. 3 out of the 4 guys told me to F off, right? But Christian was the only person that said, hey, you know what, let's meet up for coffee. He believes in meeting the people that are, his comrades and contemporaries, and so we met for coffee, and he gave me some tips, and then I went, for 4 years, I just did my own thing, and I built United Exterior Cleaning. If Christian with Activate is #1, I built United Exterior Cleaning to #1, #2. We were going this tit for tat with each other. And it wasn't until, just to answer your question, I'll come full circle, the merger and everything. It was January of this year where Christian and I probably get lunch once or twice a year just to talk about business and stuff. We were sitting down for lunch and he was like, Austin, what do you want out of this business? And I said, honestly, Christian, I don't want to marry pressure washing. This is something I want, I don't want to do it till I'm 65. I want to have a family. I want to have kids. I want to invest. This is not something I want to be attached to for the rest of my life. Honestly, I would love to grow a big power washing company, big service business, and sell it in 3 to 5 years and walk away with a nice chunk of change where I can then go and invest it somewhere where I can get a return, and that return pays for my lifestyle, and I can do other things and build my YouTube channel and whatnot. And he sat there, and his response was like, dude, like, I'm 42, I have 3 kids, they're fixing to go into softball and basketball and stuff, and I want to go out and I don't want to be doing this till I'm 60.
Right.
And so we were sitting there and we were like, dude, why are we competing with each other?
Right.
And we were like, we should just do this together. And that kind of started like a whole back and forth of just like, what was possible and, what we wanted out of this business. And yeah, we just merged as of last month and we're kicking ass.
That's exciting.
Yeah.
That's a good story. So what's the big thing that people are getting power washed? What do you think is your number one ticket item, if you will?
You're doing a lot of commercial projects now.
I mean, it's everything. I mean, realistically, anything exterior can get cleaned. So our services are roof cleaning, house washing, which is basically washing the exterior of the house, windows, gutters, and pressure washing can mean a lot of things like decks and pool patios and back, but pressure washing can kind of cover all that stuff. We have a commercial division of our company, which handles commercial too. So we do residential and commercial, but our go-to client, our go-to ticket per se is high ticket luxury residential.
Okay.
Yeah, commercial can can be nice and it's cool for pictures and whatnot, but realistically they take 60 to 90 days to pay. They're some of the pickiest people ever. Generally, they're price shoppers, and we demand a high price. We offer a really great service, and we build value in what we're talking about. We know what we're talking about. And so we're going after the customer that says, I don't want the cheapest guy. I want the guy who knows what he's doing and has the right equipment to do it and will come and take care of my property in a timely fashion. And, it's a 5-star service. That's our business,
Gotcha.
So so it's great to hear where we're at now. I want to hear about the humble beginnings. So, I mean, I've heard you on other podcasts talk about some of the lows of your beginning.
Mm-hmm.
And I think most of the entrepreneurs that you're probably now coaching have probably hit this point where they're really not optimistic about the future, and they're really hoping that they can turn things around so they can have a viable business. What were some of the things that you did in the starts that you feel like made your business grow? Was your mom a huge help here as well? Do you know his mom, Matt?
No.
Oh.
Yeah, Dina Davis. She's like the Shady Hollow queen or whatever.
Okay.
Pretty big realtor in town.
Gotcha.
I don't just say that lightly. I mean, everyone knows. I don't want to say everyone knows my mom, but everyone I talk to seems as though they come up to me and goes, "Oh, you're Dina's mom." They know me because of my
son.
mom. I'm sorry, Dina's son.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and so anyway, no, well, so I grew up. My whole family, the talk was I was going to get into real estate. Real estate's in your blood. You got to do real estate. You shouldn't be doing nothing but real estate. And so I kind of grew up with this thing shit, if this college thing doesn't work, I have to do real estate. But I knew I didn't like it. I even got my real estate license a couple years ago, and we sold some homes.
And I taught you apartment locating.
Yeah, I got into apartment locating with his help and some other information I found on YouTube. So I did apartment locating, and I'm sorry, I'm giving away from his question, but
it's fine. Keep going.
Go full circle. I got my license. I closed a couple deals. Realized that this was just not something I have any passion about. And I just found some holes with it that I didn't like as far as the business was concerned. And now we have the whole NAR thing. I'm glad I'm not. People that are really good, I guess they have it taken care of. But there's all kinds of stuff with the real estate world that, to me, just screamed too much up and down. That unless you were really, really built out, I felt like it wasn't something. I like getting my hands dirty, dude. I'm blue collar.
Sure.
I like building something that I can build. And say with real estate, it's great too because there's plenty of people that have built their own thing, and they're kicking ass as well. But man, I really love what I'm doing.
That's awesome. So humble beginnings.
Yeah.
Dina Davis.
So what were some of the things you did in the very beginning that you're now telling to new? Because I figured that. Knowing you, you probably went back to that very first guy that got you interested in power washing to thank him at some point. Am I right?
No. I mean, this was just some random kid.
Oh.
I mean, this was not someone. This is just a random TikTok or some YouTube short that I saw. This was
you
not.
should go back to.
Well, I couldn't even tell you. I couldn't even tell you who it was. It was.
But I would also take the assumption that when someone calls you about, needing advice because they're starting, I would assume you probably hop on the phone with them.
Yeah, so I mean, the whole YouTube, we'll probably get into that, but that's a whole business in itself. And I have the coaching program where people can go through my course. It's a 70 video module course. It comes with weekly coaching, one-on-one coaching. They pay a monthly fee to be in that. But just like the humble beginnings, I mean, humble's all relative and whatnot. But the truth of the matter is I left my car sales job way too early. And these are all things that I've learned when I got into the business that I've now put into the program, because the whole point of my program, the 70 video training course, is to make a bulletproof way where you can almost get to a six-figure level in your service business, like the safest and most bulletproof way. And what I did was I took lessons that I learned in my whole start, right? So, don't leave your job too early. The problem is you go on YouTube and you see a lot of these like big successful people, right? They say you need to quit your job, you need to stop working for the people that you're working for. You need to take a leap, take a faith and go out there and start your business, right? And just drop everything else, right? So what we did in the program is to say, hey, look, don't leave your job too early. Maintain your family's four walls of security. You shouldn't leave your job until it costs you more money to be at your job than what your job is paying you.
Right.
Not just off the first week of lucky estimates and lucky calls. I'm talking about 6 weeks of missed work. That way you can at least have a proven system and a proven model of consistency based off what you're doing marketing-wise and whatnot. And then we go right into just, how to budget your money correctly. You're saving your money for taxes. In my first year in the business, I got into a huge tax problem, right, that I had to take care of. So just learning about financial security within growing the service business, because a lot of people that get into service business for the first time, they know nothing about, taxes, because that's what school doesn't teach you. They're not teaching you how to safeguard your money or how to prepare for that kind of stuff. Most people in America are paid via W-2, right? And the government withholds money from you, right? Because they don't trust you, right? They're going to take that money before they give it to you, right? Mm-hmm. When you go to 1099,
probably a good idea.
It is it's a great idea, right?
I just did my taxes today.
But when you go into the world of small business, right, and you're getting a check for $2,000, that's a lot of money, right? And if you're not budgeting that correctly, then that can be an issue. Sorry, I keep on diverting from this. I told you, I warned you.
I'll just
no,
keep
this
talking.
is great. The thing is, we take this in clips, so it doesn't
Okay.
really matter what the question was.
Okay.
And all we're looking to do is hear the story of humble beginnings.
Okay. All right. Okay. Well, look, it was tough. I'm starting. This is a year before COVID, and I remember I was in a duplex, and this was like an 80-year-old duplex off Albert Road, right off Matthews Lane, right down the road here. And I was living in a small, like 900 square foot B-side. My landlord was this like 85-year-old, really weird, odd dude that I would like deliver my checks to, like right there. He was an odd figure, but that was where I was living. It was like $900 a month. It wasn't up to electrical code. It was really rankety like place, but it was just me and my dog. And I was trying to start my business, dude. I had my dad's old school. He had allowed me to lease his 2003 Chevy Avalanche from him. He wouldn't let me just borrow it. He's old school like that. He said, hey, Austin, if you want to use it, even though it's worth $3,000, I will lease it to you for $300 a month. Like, so he got like the deal of the century, right?
For real. God, that cap rate's insane.
So I leased it for like a year, and I gave it back to him, just like a normal car lease, right? But that's how I started my business. So there was like several weeks of, not knowing where my next check would come from, not knowing how this would get paid, how that would get paid, and I think that's kind of the beauty of like starting your own business, like or just business in general, even real estate too. I mean, that's the beautiful thing about real estate is, no one's gonna put that money in your hand. You got to go out there and get it. And so there was several times where I not knowing what I'm gonna do, going door to door. I have several videos going back 4 years on my YouTube channel where I videotape myself going door to door, just trying to get it. I turned the camera on and was like, guys, I have absolutely no idea where my next money's going to come from, but let's just go into this Westlake neighborhood and start door knocking. And that was a 45-minute video of me just getting rejected all day, right?
Yeah.
And so, dude, I spent like a year and a half doing that until I finally, was able to get some consistency and get some, be able to reinvest some money into a website and some Facebook ads and some print marketing. Got the ball rolling a little bit, started getting some Google reviews. and getting myself to a point where I can actually be found on Google. Because as soon as that happened, as soon as I got some traction, the snowball effect starts taking place. And that's kind of what we teach in our program is, the first 6 months is going to suck. Doesn't matter what you're trying to start, but as long as you can be consistent and get, what I like to say in that program is you give every day an assignment. So if you're brand new to anything, Monday you're doing door knocking, Tuesday you're putting out flyers, Wednesday you're talking to real estate agents who love, they all have a Rolodex of contractors, right?
Sure.
Why don't you become one of them, right? And so just giving every day an assignment and doing that consistently over a period of time is what kind of got me off the ground there.
Is there anything outside of, you mentioned quitting your job too soon, but is there anything else that was a kind of big mistake that you can think of?
No, I think the one of the, as far as my, I don't think there's been plenty of times where we messed stuff up at a customer's house, and those
Sure.
mistakes will happen, but like big mistakes that if I didn't do it, I wouldn't be where I am now.
Well,
or
just, people learn from others' mistakes. So is there any other advice you would give? You could call it where, like, I tried this and it didn't work. Outside of I quit my job too soon.
No, I mean,
That was the only one.
that,
Quit your job too soon. and
well, I
smooth
think
sailing.
another
Everything else is smooth sailing.
Well, I think another mistake is just I think people just dance and like masquerade around the idea of doing anything, and I think that process is a mistake. So many times people want to do anything. I mean, I got friends today that they say that they want to have a marketing agency or they want to do this, but it's unfeasible. I don't think the time is right. I'm gonna wait till this and that happens, and what happens is so many people try to get their ducks so. I don't know if I can curse, but they want to get their ducks.
You absolutely
I don't
can.
want so many people want to get their ducks so fucking perfectly in a row before they do anything, and that thing right there is like what's stopping everyone. So I would say another mistake is people just aren't doing what they want to do, even if it means just doing one thing that's free, like coming up with a business name. I'm talking about for pressure washing, like coming up with a business name, getting a Google My Business started. These are all things that you can do for free. That's a step in the right direction. And so maybe, there was a couple, thinking back, I might have waited a couple months just because I was still kind of dancing around the idea about pressure washing. But even then, starting a couple months earlier, that wouldn't have really changed my scenario. I'm just thinking about anyone else that's out there and they're thinking about, starting something, whether that's whatever. I mean, just start.
Yeah, what's the saying that perfection is the killer of innovation?
Yeah, I mean, I think of so many people who say they're going to do something for a long time. And that something could have amounted to something.
Yeah.
Until it's gone. Or the people who are like, oh, I have this business idea. I don't want anyone else to steal it. Nobody else probably will.
No.
And I mean, I think about how many ideas I have. I feel like I make a lot of ideas, and ideas are easy. Execution is hard. I can give people a game plan about how to do exactly what I do in real estate. Not that I do anything groundbreaking, but I could give them every trick in the book. They're not going to do any of them.
Yeah.
People really only want to do something that they consider their idea.
Mm-hmm. So sorry.
No, you're fine. Big power washing job?
No, this is Willie, one of our guys. He keeps calling me. I told him to call my partner.
Gotcha.
Let's see, where was I going with that?
Well, growing the business to the point where you can delegate, right? I mean, there it is. You saw it firsthand. Willie's going to call his partner now.
Yeah. So who knows what's going on with that situation? But it's an everyday thing what we got going on.
When did all the YouTube stuff and like the videos and everything begin for you? Was that something you started early on? And if so, why? Or what was the why behind all of that?
Yeah, good question. So I started the YouTube channel back in late 2019. I would say I started the power washing business like March or February 2019. I started making videos November 2019, if I can remember correctly. Excuse me, holy crap. So I started making YouTube videos because what I would do is I learned a lot from YouTube. I think a lot of people learn a lot from YouTube.
Yeah.
And I got some inspiration from these guys that were posting videos about power washing. And then what happened was I spent a whole summer and a fall going out there and learning about power washing and doing jobs. Well, I started picking up on some things, whether it was most of it was things that I've learned from the car business, like customer interactions and having a sales process and things that have helped me close customers, like at their house with estimates and whatnot. It's like, hey, I'm gonna start making some videos. I don't know. If you can go back and look at my first couple videos, like they're terrible videos as far as like the quality. Like nothing's right. I knew nothing about video and production and editing and what to say and how to structure a video. But started making videos. Long story short, like a couple months went by of me making some videos. Not too much consistently. I'd pop one here, pop one there, upload one there. And people just started commenting, and I was like, man, like people are commenting, people are liking, people are like saying, hey, Austin, you know, what you said in that video, that helped me. And I was like, dude, that's crazy. And then I just started making videos. It went from door-to-door videos, which is kind of what started my YouTube channel, to, you know, this is what my rig setup, my pressure washing setups looks like. And then I started doing what really kind of took it off was I started doing these day in the life videos, which I would, you know, get up in the morning, wake up, whatever time it was, breakfast, hitting the streets, doing jobs. I'd get my mic, I'd get my camera, and I'd take them through the whole day, customer interactions, you know, asking for their business while I'm there, doing the actual job, sharing the revenues and the profits and the expenses for the day. Those videos kind of took off like wildfire. That kind of what skyrocketed my
How
channel.
long is one of those videos?
Generally 15, 20 minutes.
Gotcha. So
Yeah.
you're editing it out, like you're starting, and then you kind of click to the next thing.
Yeah.
Like, okay.
Yeah. I started editing on
I'll have to
iMovie.
follow you and see
Okay.
how well it.
Yeah, I mean, there's been a whole progression there and whatnot. And then, you know, I started making videos, and then I had no idea it would take off to the business it is today. You know, just with I started making videos. You start getting, you know, if you're familiar with YouTube, you have this thing called ad revenue, right?
Yep.
So you get ad revenue, which was like, at first I thought like, holy crap, I'm making money off YouTube. And at first I was so focused on that. Like, I'm just going to compete making videos because the more videos I make, the ad revenue will go up, which it does. But that's not even like the skinny. I mean, that's just the skinny of it. Like, you know, if you offer products and programs and all this kind of stuff, you can really easily monetize a YouTube channel. But there was also things like that would just start happening to me. Like, people would, and unfortunately, I have a lot of videos on my channel where I would share my cell phone number. I had no idea my channel would get to where it is today. Because when I had like 1,000 subscribers, I would say, hey, look, guys, you know, if you have any questions, just text me, and I'd input my cell phone number. Those videos keep racking up views. I'm not going to delete them just because they bring a lot of people to my channel, but I get calls every day, and just like, Austin, man, you know, I watched your video. I'm sitting here on my couch having a beer, man. You know,
Wow.
Truly hustling out there.
where are you from? And I was like, oh, dude, I love you, but like, this is my cell phone, and like, if you're serious about this at this point, it's like, if you're serious about this business, I will give you some time, but you need to go through my program, because at this point, I just can't. With the business that we're doing today, I don't have the time to respond and answer like 5, 10 calls, DMs a day, right?
Yeah.
And so I just push them in my program. Like, hey, look, I will give you some time. I will give you my time via weekly calls and one-on-one coaching, where you do have access to my cell phone number, but you need to pay to be a part of my group, and you need to go through my whole video course program. That way you're thinking the same way as me. And then we'll work with you. But, you know, unfortunately, I don't have the time to just shoot the shit, you know.
Yeah.
So-
No, I get it.
Yeah. You
So-
probably got a lot of people who are hoping to start. Like,
Oh, yeah.
they haven't even bought the equipment yet,
No.
and they just want to pick your brain. Ballsy of them to call. I'd be too afraid to call.
Well, you know, I don't give them too much. I don't hit on them too much, because one of the first things I did was when I first got inspired to start a YouTube channel, it was this guy named Joe Deary on YouTube.
Shout out to Joe.
Yeah, he has a YouTube channel called Powerful Improvements. I learned a lot about pressure washing from him, and he kind of inspired me to start my channel too, because he'd post similar videos, and I was like, I want to share some tips, just like he's sharing tips. And I called him one time 3 or 4 years ago too, whenever I first started, and he gave me some time. And so there was about a year and a half where a lot of people would call me, and I gave them my time for free. But now it's just like, okay, unfeasible. So.
Did any of these people that you contacted give you some really good information that you still use today, that without it things might not have taken off as quickly?
I mean, I think I learn something every day. I mean, I can't pinpoint what exact information was from this person, what it was, but you know, whether I'm talking, you know, my mom, my dad, I mean, anyone in the industry, I always get tips and tricks from people, and I've by no means made it. There's plenty of people who are far beyond me, and some people will come on my channel and say, you know, Austin, like, you're making these videos, but you know, so and so is so far beyond them. Cool, like, you don't need to do what I'm doing. Like, I'm here, I'm trying to get to there. If I can help someone get from here to here, I've done my job.
Yeah.
Right, and so like I you know. People are funny. Once you start make these videos and they get a lot of views, you get a lot of people. I get people that feel some certain type of way about me, and they'll leave my business 1-star reviews.
Oh wow.
So like that's what happens when you start making content that that a lot of people see is like they just have opinions about it. You know.
Oh wow, the haters.
So what's your favorite part of the job? Whether it's the marketing, you're doing the YouTube stuff. Sounds like you've got a lot going on. I mean, what for you is your favorite part?
I love seeing something that I built grow. And even now with the merger, we took my company, we took his company, and we merged together, and now we're watching this big entity grow, and we're hiring people, and we're seeing the monthly revenues grow and whatnot. I think it's just the idea of that you can really start anything and then watch it grow. That's kind of what keeps me going. That's my favorite part, seeing that we're getting an extra customer, or seeing a customer leave us a 5-star review, or call out one of our guys that we hired, like, hey, Willie, or hey, Leo, they did a great job on my property, right? As far as just like in the trench, like what is something I particularly like the best is going and meeting our customers in the very, very beginning.
So the sales side.
The sales side, yeah, how that whole process works, and then up until the review, and then just nurturing and taking care of our customers. We do monthly campaigns to our customers. We check in on them. They get thank you cards from us. As soon as the job gets completed, 2 weeks go by, they'll get a thank you card, and they'll send us pictures like, man, we got this handwritten thank you card. We work with a company that does handwritten thank you cards, and it's like a cursive machine.
Oh wow.
I
need to hire them.
Yeah.
I've seen them advertise around.
Yeah, dope marketing.
Yeah. I mean, they've been a sponsor at Tom Ferry conferences and things like that. So.
Yeah. They're great, and there might not. We can't quantify the exact return on investment from that, but I tell you what, it separates us from everybody. Like no one's. I firmly believe like no one's doing. I'm talking about in our city. I have no idea about on the country, but no one's doing in our area what we're doing with our customers. Like most companies go over there, give them a price. There's no value built up. There's no rapport relationship. They do the work, whether that's a good job or a bad job, and then they get the money, and that's it. They might not even see the customer ever again. Like we're talking to them quarterly and saying, hey, not saying, hey, what kind of deal can we give you? Hey, we're just checking in on you. How are your kids? You told me last time we were there, they were going to college. How's he doing? And so they love us. Like they love Austin and Christian. They want to work with Austin and Christian. Whenever they refer us to another person, they don't say, hey, activate. No, they say Austin and Christian. You gotta go see Austin and Christian. They'll take care of you.
Yeah, for sure.
And so that's what's built us up.
Is it all power washing, or are there other services that are associated with it?
Yeah, so I mean, the power washing niche, as it's known right now, is anything exterior cleaning. So most power washing companies do window cleaning. So we do window cleaning, power washing, but within power washing can be roof cleaning. So that's roof soft washing. Are you familiar with that?
No, tell us about it.
Soft washing a roof.
So most roofs, I mean, if you go down Westgate especially, you'll see a lot of these black streaks on most roofs. All that basically can get a soft wash treatment where we stand on the ground or on the roof and we spray a low pressure soft washing method where we just basically coat the roof in detergent, and all that detergent is just going to basically eat away at all that black mold growth, and then basically we just rinse it down and it restores the color of the roof. So
soft washing, window cleaning, any exterior. You said you do decks. I mean, is it all?
You do gutters.
Yeah, gutter cleaning. I mean, we can walk around this house and anything you see on the exterior we can clean, literally. So siding, we don't touch fences too much because most of them are old and not really worth it. But driveways, any concrete. We do parking garages, apartment complexes.
Yeah. So something that you just touched on, and I love the handwritten notes thing. I think two of the major themes I've been seeing at all the real estate conferences and from all the real estate coaches, and I think this applies to any small businesses: love your database. Continue doing more things that brings you referral and repeat business. Sounds like you're already on. I get your voicemail drops. I mean, I've used you 2 or 3 times.
Yeah.
And anytime I think of pressure washing, regardless of how small a job, I'm going to call you regardless. Yeah. Even if I think the job is below you. And then, the other thing that everyone's talking about is be a content creator who also does your craft. And we were talking about this right before we got on the pod. But like we were talking about before, I see so many realtors that are really content creators that also happen to sell houses. And so do you feel like making all the content that you've been making, do you feel like that motivated you, that you had to keep pushing harder for the people who were watching you and subscribing so they could see the next step?
Oh, for sure. I mean, they're in it for that. I mean, they're in it for that. They're also in it for the information and whatnot. I think they like me just because of how I'm a kind of a genuine guy. I'm not going on YouTube and saying, hey, you should do this or you should do this or do that, because that kind of content kind of steers someone the wrong way. It's almost like this guy is like so much better than in your way down here, and you should just follow what that guy saying. No, it's just like my content is like, hey, look, this is what worked. This is how I did it. This is what worked for me. I was able to do this, and here's how I did it. Not saying you should do it or not saying you're wrong because you're doing it that way. So I come at it from a very, Alex Ramosi talks about that a lot. He says, don't say you should do this. Instead say, here's how I did it. Because it's two different ways of having someone kind of think about you. But you're right. I mean, the content with, most realtors that make content, I mean, really with anything, I mean, we're in a day and age where, attention is currency, right? Unfortunately, right, you can really know what you're doing. Like, let's say someone's a really, 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 really good carpenter or whatever, a remodeler. That guy can only get so much business, right? But if some guy comes in here that's maybe not as good, but he's just really, really good at getting attention, the dude's just going to get smoked. Like, he's going to smoke that dude, right? And so, funny enough, when I started the channel, people think like, oh, man, your YouTube channel must be giving your pressure washing business so much business. Like, no. I get no business from the YouTube channel. I think I can account for one time I've gotten a customer because someone typed in how to clean limestone, and they came across one of my videos.
Yeah.
But the YouTube channel is kind of a completely separate entity. Like, the people that are watching my channel are either looking to get into a small business, start a service business, start a pressure washing business, and just that whole realm.
How did that all, transition? Was that something you identified, or did it just happen organically?
Well, no, I identified it from the start. I mean, everyone from the start, you can just read the comments and, they'll say like, oh yeah, that happened at my customer's house too. Or, man, I used that method of cleaning and it worked for me at one of my jobs. So you can kind of get an idea also from the way the YouTube videos are titled, how to start a pressure washing business. Well, I don't imagine too many homeowners going and clicking on that video, right?
Right.
It's going to be people that are looking to start a pressure washing business. So you structure the video to where, I mean, YouTube's smart, it's a search engine, right? So they're going to present that video to someone who's looking for something around those parameters. So I've never had anyone that were any of my customers. And frankly, I would not want them to see my videos.
Okay. So did the coaching stuff start, did it coincide with you starting the pressure washer business, or was it a couple of years after?
The couple years after. I mean, funny thing is I get called out on this a lot. And they say, because when I started my YouTube channel, I told people for 2 years that, guys, I would never sell you. I don't need to sell you anything. I just want to help you. And of course I want to help people. The amount of time it takes to edit videos and film and take time away from anything else that I'm doing, I will never get a dollar amount to pay for that amount of time.
Well, never say never.
Yeah, well, we'll see. You know what I mean? But it comes to a certain point where I was just getting paid ad revenue, and I just have so much things going on as the channel gets bigger and bigger and bigger. You kind of have to prioritize who you're giving your time to. And unfortunately, a lot of that comes with, coming up with a line of prioritizations. It pretty much comes down to who's willing to invest in themselves. And if you're willing to invest in yourself and you're willing to invest in my time and pay for my time, or at least to some degree, I will then help you out. Because I would, just like I said in the beginning, I got so many people that would call me on a daily basis. I'd get home from work and they just get like, talk to me, text me, asking me what would you charge for this property? How would you handle this customer? It's like, oh my God, I've got to create something that, first off, because I would have these conversations with people and they're nowhere near in the same brainwave as far as starting the small service business. Like, I need to create a program that they can go through that will answer 95% of their questions and allow them to have the blueprint of what helped me and what got me to my position. They need to go through that. I can't invest any of my time with someone until they go through that. Then once they're through there, they can get into this program, and we meet weekly. I have notes on everyone that's in the program that I've had one-on-ones with. I give them 2 week, a 2 week roadmap. I say, hey, look, James is one of the guys in our program. Hey, for the next 2 weeks, I want to see you do this, this, and this. And let's talk back in 2 weeks.
Shout out to James.
Yeah, right. And so it's $29 a month to be in the program. And I think we're closing in on 1,000 members in the group. And we started in January. So
That's crazy.
Yeah, it's awesome. We're really stoked about it.
That's exciting.
I mean, I remember when you told me about that program at Matt's dinner. That was back in January or so.
Oh yeah.
Or maybe that might have been last winter even, last year. But Yeah, that's crazy that you're up to 1,000 people now.
Yeah, almost. Yeah.
And so where do you see that going in the future? Do you plan to have meetups, conferences, in-person things, or can you personally even take on that much, or you can hire other coaches? Where does that go?
There are several ideas I have come to mind. I mean, there's other people in the industry that are very knowledgeable that are like, business wise beyond myself. And so maybe what I've thought about is, paying them for their time to come in and talk every other week. That way it'll kind of relieve me from the group. But I mean, people came in the group because they want to talk to me, right? So they don't want to go in a group and talk to some other dude. So I'm gonna stand by my commitment. So every Wednesday at 7:30, they get 30 minutes to an hour of my time. And as far as like where I see the group, I don't know about conferences. I know one thing is for sure. I want to branch into service businesses. Like my goal now that I'm in this point of the channel and that I've seen, what's out there between pressure washing, landscaping, and plumbing, or some industries I know nothing about. But what I do know is how to get started the correct way and go after a customer. And teach a person how to build value in their service and ask for the business and handle an objection, and then go out there and do great work and ask for a review and build a website and an SEO presence, all things that every service business needs, right? And like the program is called 6-Figure Pressure Washing, so I'm giving them a roadmap on how to get to a 6-figure, which is $8,333 a month, which when people think like 6 figures, they think, holy crap, that's a lot of, and it is a lot of money. But when you kind of quantify it down, it's, I don't know, what is it? I can't think of the math right now, but it's like
$8,100 a week.
Yeah, it's 10 $800 jobs,
right,
or 10 $1,000 jobs, or you can break it down even further, $2,500 jobs, or 26 $233 jobs. I can go down the street right now and find a person each day to give me $250 to wash something on their house. I can just do that. So it's a lot easier than what people think.
Yeah, when you it's more bite-sized when you say it that way.
Yeah, right. Making it easier to people to wrap their heads around.
Well, and I think, I as the old guy at the table, I think one of the things that's enticing about what you're doing is that, and it might not even be a generational thing. I think it's just a younger person thing. Is like people don't want to go and like work for somebody to learn how to do something. So I think that there's a lot of I think it's exciting for younger people to have an opportunity. They're like, hey, I can do this. I can start my own business, and for $29 a month, I'm going to have somebody who's going to basically show me everything I need to know, and I'm going to get out there and I'm going to crush it. Where back in the day before YouTube, like if you wanted to start a power washing business, you would go like work for a guy, like almost apprentice or like, on-job training and learn how to do things, and eventually like you'd split off. But now with YouTube, you don't have to do that. And I think that, when we're younger, now that I think more about myself when I was younger, it's like, screw my boss. Like, I'll do this on my own. But then when you're like, shit, I don't really know what I'm doing, who do I ask for help?
Yeah. Well, YouTube, the cool thing about where we're living in right now is anything that's ever been done or you've ever dreamed about doing has been done before. It's online, it's on video, it's in books. So there's no excuse to go out there and do something. And that's one of the reasons why I think probably in the next 10 to 15 years, could be sooner, could be later, I think college is probably going to be obsolete. I think that we're living in kind of this bubble of people that are just, the government's just handing them money to go out there and get a degree. And I think it's like 50% of people are actually using their degree for their job that they want.
Probably less.
Some people aren't graduating. I mean, the college debt right now, I mean, I have so many friends that are in such pickles that it's just like, oh my God, like, and here I am that you can just go pick up a mop and a squeegee and clean windows. So it's just like, what are we really after with this college thing? Are we doing it to get money? Because if we're going out there to learn how to make money, I don't think college teaches you how to do that. There's plenty of things that college teaches you, but if we're just saying we're doing it for money, I think that's not the way to look at it.
I think college is intentionally trying to create slaves out of all of us. And so, I mean, I'm not qualified to talk about this at all. But I don't know, as someone who went to college, that's my qualification right here.
There you go.
I mean, I feel like you graduate college and you're knee-high in debt, and that forces you to have to get a job, and that forces you to stay employed so that you can continue grinding the gears that make this country. But I think what really needs to be reformed in college is, like, I think about all the bullshit classes that I took in my first 2 years. I think about all the algebras and biology and rock science and folk singing and whatever bullshit that I had to take in those 2 years, where I should have just started with my major courses, which start in your junior year. And then that way, let's say you had still 4 years to figure your shit out, you would end with a master's degree instead of just end with a bachelor's degree and 2 years of continued high school. So then at least you get a lot better education. Perhaps like 2 years of it could be on the job, because I learned
That's
a
what I
whole
was gonna
lot.
say, just like apprenticeship.
Like I learned a whole lot more in my internship and then in my first career than I did in college,
Right.
for sure.
Yeah, I think I forgot what video I watched, but this guy kind of explained it pretty. I'll like paraphrase, but he was like, if someone came up to you with an investment opportunity and said that you're gonna give me $100,000, and in return I'll give you the shot at making 50 grand starting, but oh, by the way, it might not work either. 99.9% of people would say no to that.
Right.
You know, it's like it costs $100,000, $20,000 a year, 30, depends what you're doing and if you're staying and eating on campus or whatever. But that's kind of what we are seeing right now. Like my sister was the first Davis in like 100 years to graduate college. Like none of my family, everyone's real estate blood. My uncle Ryan was Spyglass Realty. You know
Do
Ryan?
you know Uncle Ryan?
Is Ryan Rodenbeck?
Yeah.
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 Actually was talking to him last week.
Really?
Yeah, Ryan and I know each other very well.
Cool, yeah. So I was with Spyglass for a while, but you know, Savannah, you know, God bless her. I have such a tremendous respect for people that actually graduate college. I could never do that. I had to just drop out of high school and finish online because I just couldn't do the classes. But Savannah was the first one to do it. But man, spend a bunch of money, and what happens? And we're in Austin. I'll give you that. You can't say the same about the other parts of the country. But she gets a job for $50,000 plus, you know, starting plus potential bonuses, and here she is. She can't qualify for an apartment.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
You know, $1,400 a month. You got to make 3 times the rent. That's $4,000 a month. 50 grand gross. Or gross is $3,700 a month. So she can't qualify for an apartment. So
Right.
what are we here for? Thankfully, she was able to get some help from our family. She took on some side jobs, did some hustling and whatnot. And now she's kind of worked her way up in her career. She's making a bit more money, so she's a bit more flexible. But
I got to let Uncle Ryan know you're on my podcast.
yeah.
And that's it.
Shout out to Uncle Ryan.
Yeah.
You should call him that when you call him.
I'm going to text him.
Hey, Uncle Ryan. That's the other thing we were talking about in the very beginning was I mentioned that I'm doing a side hustle. Do I really need a side hustle when I earn well over $100,000 a year? Probably not. But I mean, there's so many people who graduate college are working in their job full time, but then paying off their student debt requires a whole additional job. And they might be doing that for the next 20 years after college to pay back 4 years. I've watched so many documentaries about student loan debt. I think it's one of the worst things ever.
Got your tinfoil hat.
I
Right? Yeah, I
don't know what that means,
Well,
but I
you
like
think that they're trying to make us slaves.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, yeah, it's funny when you think about that. But what? I don't know who started the whole thing, but it's just like, what are they breeding? Like, what are they teaching us? And like he said, like we go through this thing where with the interest rates, it makes it such a deep hole to crawl out of, and you can't afford to go and start your business because you're crawling out of this hellhole, right? And that's not even including your rent and a potential home you're gonna buy and all these other things that come with life and whatnot. So yeah, I mean, someone could say in like one saying or another that they are breeding us to be in this, this workers mentality. Like it's a factory for workers. Like they want us to go out there, pay our taxes, right, and go out there and retire, and all this stuff.
Or maybe a sector of business found a great opportunity and they just capitalized on it, and unfortunately, they're just not providing enough value.
Yeah, that's a great.
Right?
I mean, that's another way to say it too.
I mean,
there's at one point it was valuable. I mean, because I think in the 70s and 80s,
it's a lack of value more than anything.
Lack of value. I think just now with the way days are, I mean, there's kids that are filming themselves playing Fortnite that are making like $100,000 a month.
Yeah.
Like the things get stupid, and that's why I kind of said earlier, like attention is currency. Like if you can get enough attention, you will always have money. Like there's not a scenario in the world where someone gets so much attention and they're not super rich.
Yeah.
And so that's why I think a lot of people are just coming into this content thing, filming whatever. Like there's a dude that everyone always asks me, have you ever heard of SB pressure washing or SB mowing? It's this dude.
The guy who mows people's lawns for free.
Yeah,
he's a friend of mine. I've talked to him multiple times. The dude
Where's he from?
Arkansas.
Okay.
Yeah.
The yards look local. It looks like that could be in like Cherry Creek.
I've talked to him a
follow that guy all
handful
the
of times, but anyway, we were talking about some content, and he was like, dude, I don't know what to tell you. I just started making videos, and you go up, ask for the, he makes these shorts, and he knocks on the door and says, hey, I want to cut your lawn for free. And then he just puts a video. Obviously, he doesn't charge anything. He doesn't need to. The dude's making crazy money doing what he's doing. I mean, he'll post a video yesterday that'll get like 300,000 views, which will, it pays good money. So, I mean, here's a guy that mows and makes more than anyone else that ever mows, just because he gets crazy attention.
Right. No, that's awesome.
Yeah, I mean the new gold rush is subscribers.
Well, at the end of the day, you're creating you are a show. People are no longer watching the whole sitcom. I mean, it's not so much
exactly.
Kind of to your point, the currency has always been, attention, but furthermore, it's marketing, right? I always have said, there are two jobs out there that automatically people think are going to make a ton of money if they end up getting the ability to do that practice, which is law and medicine, right?
Yeah.
And the reality is being the guy who does, mortgages, I get to see the income that's associated with that. And it's pretty wild seeing, especially attorneys, where you can go to college, you've got to get a 4-year degree, then you got to go and get, a law degree, and the cost that's associated with that. And then you have attorneys that get out of school and they're like, well, I'm an attorney, like, where's my money? And some of them do go to work for, fairly decent law firms, and they make well into 6 figures. But here, I'm thinking as an attorney, I get to make like fuck you money, right? And how does that work? How do attorneys like make big money? Well, the answer is they start their own practice and they figure out a way to market themselves. I mean, there's a reason why if you turn on local television, you hear shit like 444, 444, 444.
Or you get on any interstate.
Yeah. But again, the point is that you can even have a law degree and you can, for lack of a better term, not really make good money. Same with doctors. I mean, there's doctors that are working for hospitals that aren't doing very well in comparison to private practice versus like dermatologists versus like plastic surgeons, right? Like as a plastic surgeon, most of these plastic surgeons don't like just open up a practice and people come walking in and they're like, take a knife to my face.
Yeah.
Right? Like you have to build your business. You have to build your brand. You have to market correctly, even as a plastic surgeon.
Yeah. I mean, you're almost forced to go into private practice because you can't just, it costs you so much. We're talking 300, 400,000, sometimes $500,000 for some of these dental degrees. Being a dentist, and they force you, like, you can't work for someone for $80,000 a year because you can't afford that. You need to go out there and get a small business loan and freaking start your own practice because you need to be making $200,000 a year to just justify what you spend to get it.
Well, and the point of my rant is that yes, you're right, but if you can't figure out a way to market yourself, or as you put it, find a way to gain additional attention, your business is going to fail. I don't care if you're the best plastic surgeon in the world. If no one knows about you, and that's part of when we started this podcast in general, I mean, that was the idea. It was like my call was to a lot of local real estate agents that were really good agents that had a very terrible social media presence, that were having trouble with it. Because I've come to realize that the agent that has awesome social media is not always the agent that is crushing it in real estate. Yeah. Not to say that there are agents out there that have great social media. They're also doing very well. But as a blanketed statement, the agents that are doing really, really well, they typically had like a weak social media presence. And it was like, there's no, and again, to their point, they're like, well, then why do I need social media? It's like, well, you kind of have to do everything, right? Yeah. Like it's not like you can just do one thing.
Well, sorry to cut you off. Well,
go.
Some of the really like top realtors in this day right now that say they don't use social media. A lot of them are pretty old. They're literally older, like my mom. So you can't teach an old dog new tricks to say one thing or another. But sometimes you can. But I think Grant Cardone said this a couple years ago, and I was like, I have a lot of mixed feelings about that dude. But one thing he did say was like, the best guy in any industry doesn't win. It's the most known guy, and we just said that. But like he referenced Starbucks. do we think Starbucks is the best coffee in the world? Like, I can say I think it's like the worst coffee. I hate Starbucks.
Oh, it gives
Not a
me
big
diarrhea
fan.
every time.
I hate Starbucks. Like their black drip coffee is just like a 1 out of 10, right? But they're on every street corner.
Right.
They're on the Austin FC Stadium. They got billboards. I mean, they're so known where it makes it impossible not to.
Grant Cardone
You
almost
know?
ran me over with a gigantic all-black Escalade.
That's badass.
Really?
That's a true story. I went to see him speak just because I got free tickets through a title company that we do business with, and I was like, kind of to your point, I have mixed emotions about Grant Cardone, but I wanted to see him just kind of, it was free, and I enjoy seeing people who are more successful than me,
Yeah.
kind of give advice. So it was at ABOR. That's where
Seriously?
the location was. Yeah. And I saw him speak at ABOR. And I parked next door in the parking lot, and I was walking over to ABOR, and ABOR has a parking garage that goes underneath it.
We clean that parking garage every year.
Yep.
Nice.
So I was walking across. I was walking
Big
where
shout
you you have to. I was going to walk down into the parking garage, and as I was
hate
just
that
about to
parking
hit the sidewalk, there's an Escalade that just is coming down the road and goes. And I'm thinking like I'm the pedestrian. This dude's going to wait to make a left-hand turn, and he just barrels in to make his left-hand turn, and I stop. And I lock eyes with the driver, and it was Grant Cardone driving a big all-black
he
Escalade
drives
with
himself.
Colorado plates.
That's
And
crazy.
I looked at my phone, and in his defense, he was going to be late for his own own speech or whatever. Because I was there, and I was thinking, shit, I'm gonna be late to this. But then Grant Cardone almost ran me over, and I was like, I'm not gonna be late anymore because I know he just got here.
What a story.
You could have
Yeah.
helped him find the elevator, because man, that's difficult there.
The valets came out and everything like that. I mean, they parked his car and whatnot, but it wasn't bad. I enjoyed the not almost getting run over, not almost getting run over. The actual
10
speech,
out of 10.
Yeah, the actual speech itself. To be quite honest, his wife spoke before him, and I kind of liked her presentation a little bit more than his, only because she did this whole speech about being the wife of Grant Cardone.
She's done that a lot recently.
Yeah. Well, the thing I liked about it was that she was very honest about, the ups and downs and some of Grant's because when Grant comes out, he's the fucking man.
Yeah.
Right. I mean, just ask him. And when she was there, she kind of she was again just more humble, if you will, and just kind of said it's tough, this, that, and the other, and we have ups and we have downs and all of these things. And it was kind of yeah, I like it when people, even with you coming on here and saying, when I started, I made some mistakes, I had some, tough times in the very beginning. I think that is important for other people to hear. Because to your point, you saw a bunch of videos where people are quit your job, stop working for this, and everybody makes things seem so easy.
Yeah.
And I think for some people it's motivating, but I think for other people it's what's the word? It's get you down on yourself, right? Gosh, why am I such a screw up? Am I really why am I fucking up? And it's not that easy.
Yeah.
And so to hear somebody become successful, but at least to say, hey, at humble beginnings, I made mistakes. It was harder than I thought. I don't know. I think honesty is the best policy. So I really did like seeing, I cannot remember her first name, but
Elena
is it
Cardone?
Yeah,
Elena
yeah.
Cardone? There we go. I really enjoyed seeing her speak as well.
Shout out, Elena.
There it is.
Okay, this is a question I was thinking about. So don't answer this as someone who was previously in real estate, but for what you know about helping small businesses start and grow, since probably I would have to take a wild guess, half of our listeners are realtors themselves, what would be kind of your top quick things that you would say if you were to launch as a realtor, not having the background that you have?
Yeah,
but
not
if you
being
were,
real estate royalty.
if you were to start new, what are the things you think a realtor should do to get off the ground?
Well, I mean, it depends what your goals are, but like I just said, if the goal is money, then, well, you just said not having the background I have now. So, I mean, but I would still do the same thing because, I started making videos when I didn't have that background and I saw it grow. So if it happened today, I would be making content like crazy. And because I just know I'm good at getting attention. I'm just going to switch the content. I'm going to do everything. I'm going to hit it from all angles and I'm going to drum up business that way. We did it whenever we were doing last year with Alexa,
Yeah,
my
yeah.
then girlfriend, and we closed a couple deals, and 2 of them came from TikTok.
Yeah.
We closed one deal that came from TikTok, and it was off a video that I made.
And she's still doing all of her business on TikTok.
Yeah, and dude, that girl is killing it, and I have all the love and respect for
Who
her.
is this?
I'm not together with her
We'll
anymore.
have her on the podcast
Oh,
too.
okay.
Well, no, we.
Oh. Oh wait, no, probably not with Austin here,
No,
but
no.
Oh, I see. This is
But
okay.
no, this
I,
is-
I got
this
it.
is
I
a-
she
got it.
shares business with me
Yeah.
frequently.
I see.
Yeah, well, look,
She was actually at your party for a second.
Oh, yeah?
the move-in party.
Okay.
really okay.
What does she do now?
She's an apartment
locator.
locator. She's a
got it.
beast, and I'm not gonna get into that, but because I'll start feeling some type of way.
No, we're
But-
talking about content.
Yeah, we're talking about content, but yeah, we started making. I took something that I already knew how to do because I was years doing YouTube pressure washing on YouTube, all those videos, and I was with Alexa. We said, hey, we're gonna do this real estate thing. We got to pump content because we got nothing. Like we don't have any leads, right? And so we started pumping content, and 2 of our deals, or 1 or 2 of our deals, came from TikTok. We did 3 total house deals, and we did it, or I'd say house deals, like homes.
Transactions. Yeah.
Transactions. I think we did that in 3 or 4 months, and then what happened was we started in November, then March came, and I got in my busy season. And that's when I was like, dude, I can't do 3 things at the same time. So I let that real estate go. A couple months later, we ended up separating. But to answer your question, what would I do if I'm just starting out? I mean, we got to go with the times. I would not be studying a real estate book, learning everything about real estate. I think just like with pressure washing, or just like a lot of things, you don't need to be an expert on it at day one. You just need to put a customer in front of you and then just get to learning. I mean, I think everyone's first transaction, or my first pressure washing job, funny enough, my most viral video on YouTube, it's got like 800,000 views. It was talking about my first ever pressure washing job and the nightmare that came with that. Just like most people's first real estate transactions, a nightmare. I know the ones that I did with Alexa and I, nightmare. Right, but and the money was not even worth it. It was like by the time Alexa and I split it and whatnot, it was like this was just a learning experience and a half, right? But I just know just making content and getting eyeballs. Eyeballs are gonna. What's the saying? It's I think Grant Cardone said it again too. He said, "Don't chase money. Chase it." He basically boils down to contacts equal contracts. Contracts equal revenue, right? And so just follow the eyeball game,
Well, that's kind of like what you said about the income thing. If you make it bite size, it seems a lot more realistic. So, again, if you're chasing the money and saying I want to make $100,000 a year, that seems like a way more daunting task.
Exactly.
Than saying like, hey, I want to make $2,100 this week. Like, how much do I need to make in a
8
day?
transactions. Yeah.
Right. And the saying is, how do you eat an elephant, Chase?
One bite at a time.
There it is.
Start with the toes.
That's a good point.
Start with the toes.
I don't even know if elephants have toes.
It's helpful when you break things
Do they
down.
have hooves?
Yeah.
I think that's great. Yeah, but okay, so I guess this goes back to you're doing what you know. Because I've mentioned this before, because I love talking about marketing. That's what my degree's in. That's what I find most exciting about real estate. Like, I feel like if real estate was gone tomorrow, I'd find something else to market. And I have certain ways I like to do things. And I think the best thing about real estate is that there's so many different ways to market yourself and get business. And I see some of the people even in our office who are just on cold calls the entire day. And I'm like, props to you, Skylar. That can't be me.
Yeah.
I haven't made a cold call in years.
What would you market?
If I couldn't do,
If they
real
came in
estate?
and said you're no longer
The
allowed to sell
NAR
a
shut me
house.
down?
Yeah, just
that's fair.
I'll
I'll probably end up getting sued and lose my license. Honestly, I think I'd rather go into a like a food or drink type of brand.
Yeah.
I'd like to market something like this.
I think about something that you were saying early on is that, so we bought this whole office space, and about 95% of all this place was an assisted living facility when we bought it. It was pretty scary, and we've done all the work ourselves and a lot of the plumbing and things like that. And I'm fairly handy, I guess is what I'm driving at. And the one thing that I've identified that I think you have also noticed is it seems as though, like a younger generation or just people in general, or I don't know if it's an Austin thing, like no one knows how to do anything anymore. And knowing that, I feel like people in the trades, at least the ones that are, kind of smarter and keeping their eye on the market is identifying that. And so the margins that are associated with what y'all are doing are really, really good. And it's funny to me because going back to like nobody wants to turn a wrench anymore. Like you mentioned, like I'm a blue collar guy. I like to work with my hands like that, I like that. I think that that's, especially this day and age, is smart because so many people now are looking at that like it's, I don't know what to say other than like, beneath like any kind of white collar or desk job or anything like that. And here you got guys that are, well into six figures power washing because what was the line you used? Like all you need is a mop and a squeegee, but then you've got guys with $100,000 worth of college degree debt that can't even get a decent job.
Yeah. Well, what was it?
I work with people at my bartending job that have degrees, but they're not useful degrees, and this is their one job. And it's like, why did you go to school for this long?
Right.
To get a degree in sociology and theology and women's studies, and I mean, so this should be illegal. Like, I think when you're going to apply for the student loans, they should say, "What are you planning on learning?"
Yeah. Well,
what's your game plan
really,
with
it comes down to value, right? You're paying money for a product that isn't giving you any kind of return on investment other than maybe like some friends and an experience in college. I mean, I'm sure UT games are fun to go to, and there's some frat parties that are probably memorable. But yeah, I mean, colleges, I don't know. When you purchase something, I mean, most businesses, they're going to get a bad review if there's no return on investment. But I've never seen.
Do people review college?
They should. That's my point. Like maybe people should be writing bad reviews to the colleges that they like signed up for and said, "Hey, I got this degree, and you said that something was going to come of it." I don't know.
Yeah, well, I mean, I just remember what I was going to say because you said, like, there's a lot of things out there that are not particularly sexy. And, dude, whenever I was, like, 18 or 19, or I was, like, 20, I think I was, like, 22 when I started the power washing business. But if you told me at, like, 20 that I would be doing power washing as a career, dude, I would be like, there's no effing way that Austin Davis, and I thought I was like the shit, right?
Right.
Because my ego's at an all-time high when I'm 20, right? Everyone's just
Most guys are.
raging around with testosterone.
Yep.
Pressure washing? Are you freaking kidding me? Dude, I'm like so far beyond that.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, there's just no way. I thought I was going to do something with like tech or like I was going to come up with some smart idea or whatever, or be big in real estate. I wasn't a realtor at the time or something, take over like the family
Well,
business.
you are not an outlier with that.
Yeah.
And that's kind of my point. I think that most people have that kind of attitude or mentality, and therefore things like the trades are going, like I follow this guy, you should follow him. It's awesome. Replumb. Check this guy out. I don't know what it is. I love watching plumbing videos. But he does everything where everything is like sped up really fast. So you can watch like an entire like plumbing job done in like a minute, but it's
Damn.
It's like 15-minute video and it's all sped up and you're like, oh, okay, sweet, now I got this figured out. And yeah, he's made comments about just what we're talking about right now, where he does super well financially and everything's good and they're running their own plumbing business. But most people in their 20s, it's like, hey, why don't you run a plumbing company? And they're like, oh, fuck that, I'm going into tech, or I'm a crypto bro, or whatever it is. Like,
I'm gonna do real estate wholesale.
Right, I'm gonna wholesale real estate. And
Sub 2, Pace Morby.
There you go.
Oh, yeah.
We somehow always manage to drop Pace's name.
And then we got to mention Victor Nino's Ferrari right after that.
Victor Nino's Ferrari.
Do you guys like Pace Morby?
No.
No.
No? do you guys, so what's y'all's, I mean, do you guys think he's just blowing smoke or?
No. I think that, on the surface of things, Pace is very clever. What he is doing is definitely clever, and it's just that in this market, he, for lack of a better term, is kind of getting away with it. He's not doing anything, illegal. And now that he has like millions of dollars to work with, even if something were to like if shit were to hit the fan, I think he financially could afford to like make it right. And that's only if he wanted to. You're just putting a lot of potential, or you're putting a lot of home sellers in some serious potential risk that I don't think that he is being fully transparent on.
Yeah.
And
I've seen the way that he explains it, and I gotta tell you, when I hear him explain it to a client, it makes sense to me sometimes, but I don't know the full thing. Like I said, I'm not buried into it. But when you tell someone that, hey, look, if you short sell your home, You're going to get 100 ding on your credit score. You're going to walk away with nothing. And that's going to be it. It's going to take you a long while to recover. What I'm offering is to take it. You're going to get money in your pocket. You're going to save your credit. And you'll just keep the mortgage in your name and I'll pay it. But I do see if anything happens with PACE and not paying, there's got to be something with that.
If you're currently underwater on your property, right, if you owe more than what your house is worth, then everything you just said would 100% be, above bar.
Mm-hmm.
The problem is that you find somebody who's short sailing on their property and they don't know any better. They have tons of equity. I mean, between 2020
But who's talking them into doing that themselves?
He is.
Oh, so it's people like Pace that are going around saying you should short sale?
No.
But he's finding short sales on the market already.
Right, he's finding people who are currently behind on their payments.
Oh.
Right?
And
so he goes
they're desperate.
Okay.
Right,
so they're behind on their payments, but that doesn't necessarily mean that they're...
And they're not foreclosed on, or the bank hasn't short saled on them. So he comes in, and instead of me saying, hey, man, you owe $200,000 on your property, just between like 2019 and 2022 in a 3-year timeline, like there was no such thing as a home that was underwater.
Mm-hmm.
Like it just didn't exist, right? Like everybody saw appreciation on their property. So, someone not being able to make their payments has nothing to do with their equity position.
Yeah, right.
So you come in and you find somebody that, I've flat out heard in some of his videos, their business model was find a home that like looks like shit because the client doesn't have any money to invest into it. And so I go to you and you owe $200,000 on your property. You're behind on your payments. And I'm like, let me get you out of this. I'm going to go ahead and just pay off your mortgage, maybe even give you like $50,000 walk around money. Just get the fuck out of here. Mm-hmm. And you're like, this sounds amazing. Well, I didn't do diligence and basically say like, hey, your house is worth $400,000. Why don't we just go ahead and list it at $375 as a fire sale? I'm gonna take a 3% commission, and then you're gonna walk away with like $80,000 worth of equity. And so some would argue like, well, if you're a homeowner, it's your responsibility to like know what your house is worth. Like, how could you, I'll relate it to a car. Yeah. Like, everybody kind of owns a car, and if you go to the dealership and you don't do your research and you trade in your car for less of a value, like, is the car dealership doing anything illegal? No.
Just trying to make a deal,
right? And the car dealership would argue like, haha, we just totally like burned that dude, but we made a ton of money. And so it's like buyer beware, right? My whole thing on it is like, I agree with buyer beware. And I think that you should do diligence and be responsible. It's a shame that in this society today that like people prey on each other like that, and that we have to be so careful, and especially like with housing, it should be a little more regulated so that this doesn't happen. But not only are you doing these things, but now you're creating a YouTube channel and encouraging other people to do it and talking about how much money you're making doing it. And it's like, whoa, wait a second.
And the people he's trying to convert are the people who have no job. They have no money. They think this is their way of owning real estate.
And he's doing it like, look at me, look at how easy it is, right? So that's the issue that I have with it. Again, like, if you are going to do something like this, you're not doing anything illegal. I know that. You're definitely not doing, in my opinion, the right thing. But then when you go and brag about it and try to promote it, that's when it really like pisses me off, right? Like if you were massively gouging clients through power washing, like, and I don't even know how you would do that, but if I thought long enough about it, maybe I could figure it out. But if you were like massively gouging people in terms of cost that like were none the wiser, and you were doing all that and you weren't doing anything illegal, but then if you're going on and you're like, hey, everybody, here's a great way to like make, 10x on a fucking power washing job, like go find an old lady and then have her take out an equity line of credit on her mortgage, and like she'll give you a credit card, and like, I don't know.
I feel like this is what my contractor thinks about at night.
Like, right. Like, and I don't know. Profit is not a dirty word. Right? Like, I don't think it is.
No.
And people need to make money, but I don't think it's, like, okay to do things when people don't fully understand, what's going on, especially when you have – and then that's the last part of it that I'll touch on, and then it's enough about Pace Morphine, is you have an entire industry full of people with licenses that are, like, bound to a code of ethics, that are – 100% trying to do what's right. But I mean, I'd say at least 90% of the real estate community, maybe more, wants to do what's right by their client. And then they're like, yeah, and we're just going to make our, charge our 6% commission, 3 to the buyer, 3 to the seller. And somehow someone like Pace is glorified and an entire group of licensed professionals is under a lawsuit right now. I mean, it won't be long. All it's going to take is for the market to take a little bit of a turn. If it does, guys like Pace are going to find themselves. Well, I think he has enough money to fix it, to be quite honest. But guys that Pace has trained are going to find themselves in a really tough spot, because you're going to have people that will go into foreclosure, and now they're on the mortgage. Their credit is going to get dinged because the client can't pay the difference between what is owed and what has been borrowed. And they're going to look to their, I don't even know what you would call, what's Pace's like job title. They're going to look to their guru and be like, hey, why are you missing payments? And they're like, sorry, don't know what to tell you. And those people are going to be fucked. And if there's enough of those people that get fucked, they're going to find some fancy attorney. And yeah, I mean, fines, prison, who knows?
Yeah, I think it's a slippery slope, and the more people that you teach about it, the more popular it gets, the more likely someone's going to have a problem with it.
Like if someone's underwater in a foreclosure situation, and you just truly believe in future equities as far as property values are concerned, like you owe $200,000 on your house, but it's only worth $195,000, you couldn't even pay a real estate agent to sell it. But I'm thinking like in 5 years, this house is going to be worth so much more money. Go ahead and just transfer over the loan assumption to me, because otherwise you're fucked anyway, right? Yeah. And now I'm taking on a risk at the possibility that, if the market doesn't turn, it's a no-brainer for you, because you're just, again, you couldn't even pay to sell it. Yeah. In that situation, I get it. That makes complete sense. It's like, well, I can prop up this mortgage long enough to see the appreciation, and then that I take the risk, I get the reward.
Yeah, as you should.
Right?
Yeah.
Totally get it. Again, we'll use the car scenario. It'd be like you driving around this in total dog shit condition, like, I don't know, 67 Chevy Nova.
My 2010 Ford Ranger.
No, that's not like that's not like a collectible car.
Oh,
right.
So I thought you meant a piece of shit.
Well, it is. It's a 67 Nova, but like I know that if I put in like $20,000 into that, get a new paint job, redo the motor, turn it into a resto mod, like those things go for $70,000, $80,000. There's guys that buy those cars. And so for a guy with a beat up Nova to be like, I know what I got, this car's worth 70, 80 grand. It's like, yeah, when I put 25,000 into it, do you have $25,000? They're like, no. That's not what we're talking about. This is Pace Morby finding the guy with the fully resto mod 67 Nova being like, this thing's only worth 20 grand. You should just sell it to me.
Yeah.
Because he's got a bank note on it.
Pace got a pretty good chunk of our attention in this thing.
Oh, he always does.
Solid advertising.
He always does. I'm waiting for him to call me and thank me.
Yeah. We'll have him on the show eventually.
Yeah, well, like I said, he's not all bad. And I will say, kind of like what you were making mention of, the door knocking and everything along those lines. I mean, marketing yourself, sales, a lot of the way he started was through door knocking. And I kind of want to ask you about that. Like, you've talked about the YouTube stuff, you talked about attention, but you mentioned that the majority of what you were doing in the beginning was door knocking. Like, how effective was that? Do you still do it? Like, what's your take on that?
I think I use door knocking as more of a mechanism as just, being proactive in your business. And I believe it builds character. It gives you confidence, and, meeting customers face to face, whether you get it closed or not, or you get it on your schedule or not. I think going out there and doing something with your business, fires off something emotionally in your mind that you say, I'm doing something proactive today. Whether it's good or not, or it results in dollars or not, I'm doing it.
Yeah.
And for the most part, I think a lot of what door knocking, it kind of goes in. It just builds armor, I guess you could say, around yourself. So whether, so I did a lot of that, and it taught me a lot. I learned a lot. I learned how to, talk to customers about my service and, talking to them about that. And so I think more than anything, I can't tell you it was the most profitable thing I ever did, but it definitely kind of helped build me up in the beginning.
Got it.
But so like going back to earlier what I was talking about, like what I'm really, really big on is like a sales process. And so like one of the big polarizing topics in the service industry world is what a lot of people are doing right now is they get a customer, it goes through their website lead form on their website, and a lot of people do auto bidders on their website where they find it convenient where someone can just input their square footage of their property and what they need done, and their website will spit them out a quote, and then they can go to schedule on their website. Very efficient, very Amazon era type world we're living in, where it's very efficient, and most people like that. A lot of people are operating their business that way.
Mm-hmm.
We don't do that. Everything is in person. We talk to our customers there. We explain the process. You know, people say, Austin, you're driving around. You're wasting money driving around. Our close ratio is damn near 90, 95%. Like, we are closing every single customer that we do. And just like, I can go into it, but like, I'm just really big on the customer process from the point that we get the phone call to showing up there in person, to asking for their business, to doing the job, to asking for the review, and then keeping them in our pipeline. That is what has got us where we are. And a lot of people are like, man, if I just had more leads, you know, more leads is the answer. Our next $500,000 to $1 million in our service business for next year is going to come from our CRM.
Gotcha.
That cultivating that CRM, like, there's no reason.
Data bank.
Our data bank, like, we have spent thousands of dollars on over 5,000 customers. Why do we need to worry about more customers? Like,
Right.
if we can get 50 or 100 people in there to give us $1,500 a year, right? I mean, that's significant revenue, right? And so that's what just comes, you know, gathering clients and then cultivating that CRM. And so that's what we're really, really big on. And I believe that's what separates us from the rest of the people in our service area.
You've mentioned, we've mentioned, you know, people like Grant Cardone and other kinds of, I'll use the air quotes, like gurus. Is there anyone that you're kind of following or listening to that you kind of look up to or feel like, you know, you like their content?
There's one guy in the service industry named Mike Andes. I had him on my I did an interview with him on my channel a month or so ago. But you know, as far as someone that's in the service business industry, that he owns Augusta Lawn Care. He's in the landscaping industry. He has 130 franchise locations. He does coaching. He has his own CRM. This dude is massive. And the crazy part is he has a very minimalistic lifestyle. Like, he believes in reinvesting everything. Like, he lives in a tiny home, like a literal tiny home, like on wheels. Right. The dude's worth tens of millions of dollars and whatnot. He drives a Mazda. And like, he just has like these I guess thought processes and theories about business that I tend to cling to. But outside of him, I mean, I listen to Grant Cardone. I mean, I get information from a bunch of different players and whatnot. I think everyone does too.
So even I don't no segue. How do you feel that there are plenty, at least 1,000 people that consider you a guru? Do you feel like those are tough shoes to fill?
I think it can be if you present yourself as the guru. Like I talked about earlier, you know, you should do this versus this is what worked for me. And now that I've kind of taken that, there's no pressure on me on anything. There's no shoes that I need to fill. You know, people can gravitate towards my content. And, you know, one of the most common things I see is like, man, like, you're just so genuine with it. Like, you're not telling anyone anything. You're just explaining your day to day. And so if someone's just explaining something that they did today, can't really attack him for anything. Like, the dude just made a video on what he did today. Like, what are you going to say, right? It'd be different if I said, you know, this is how you go out there and get 10 customers, and this is what you should tell them, or this is how you should get your customers. Then someone can start to pick apart that kind of content. And people that make that content, you have to be really good. You have to be dead right on a lot of your stuff. Otherwise, you're going to get a lot of criticism.
Yeah.
You know, and so because I come from this standpoint, you know, outside of a handful of few haters and whatnot, like I said, sometimes I get bad reviews on my business, which is just like so wrong. Like, I can't believe some people, but I think a lot of people just gravitate towards my content because, you know, my whole YouTube channel has been almost like I call it my own video library monologue of my whole business life. Like, you can go back 3 or 4 years ago and see videos of me in my mom's Infiniti, which she let me borrow, having failed the real estate exam 3 times. And I was like almost to tears because like I didn't have no jobs for my pressure washing business the next 2 weeks. I kept failing my real estate license. Like, I can sit there, and I was on a vertical video. It's a freaking widescreen YouTube video, and I was filming it vertically because I didn't know anything about content. And I was like, guys, I don't know what I'm going to do. Like, should I do it? Should I take the test a 4th time? I don't know. Like, as far as the pressure washing, I don't even know what I'm going to do on that either. But I posted it, and people, they're able to see the progression and whatnot. And, you know, that's what it's been really awesome to make content.
Did you find it extremely scary when you first started? Because I think about like when I first went off on my own, when I first moved here, I didn't know anybody here. And I was like, I just want to launch my own business. And I knew it was going to take some ramp up time. But I think my first like 2 months, like I was just watching all of my savings that I had painfully saved for the last prior 2 years. I just watched it all go down like to 10% of what I had fast. And I was like, I don't know where this money is going. I don't know if I'm going to have a business. I know I'm going out there and meeting people. I think that's the first step, but how long will it take until they trust me? And I remember like not even wanting to go to the grocery store. I was like, I'm going to eat Dollar Tree food. I'm going to live on macaroni and cheese if I have to. I was determined to do something, and I knew things would turn around. But did you have those scary moments when you were first starting? Let's start with that, because I got follow up to this.
I think you can pin a lot of things of being scary. I mean, I could flip that around and say, man, it'd probably be scary for you not to start. I mean, think about this. Think about the flip scenario. I'm sitting at the dealership working 80 hours a week on a hamster wheel with no life progression. No life, no family, no relationships. That's scary.
What kind of cars were we selling?
I was selling Volkswagens.
That's right.
Yeah.
You said that.
I was working at the Volkswagen dealership, which was a fun time. But like, so what kind of scary do you want? Do you want a scary situation where you're on your own path, but except it has unlimited potential and unlimited. You can do whatever you want. No one to tell you when you can go on vacation, and no one to tell you how to model your business. Or do you want a scary situation where your finances are mostly secure? That can be up and down too. However, there's no real progression. So it just kind of depends how you define that scenario. To me, I have to be able to see progress. I can't just live a consistent, I'm reporting to work and I'm making this amount and I'm hamster wheel. I have to see every year that goes by, I have to see something change, whether that's finances, living situation, or emotionally, relationships. More time to spend with family. More time with my grandparents because they're getting older too. And so the moves that I'm making, like I said earlier, like with the mergers, like my goal is for the next 3 to 5 years to sell this. Because I know in the next 3 to 5 years, I'll be 33 years old. I'm 28 in June. Dude, I want to spend as much time with my family. And I say, well, my parents, but like my kids in the future. Like, dude, I want to be the dad that's at every one of my kids' games. I want to coach them, come home from school, I want to pick them up. Like when I was growing up, and my parents did a great job. I have to give them their credit. I love my parents. But, we had nannies growing up, and they did what they had to do. They were working. They put food on the table, and I love my parents so much. But, with my kids, I want to have a bit of a different lifestyle, a more hands-on lifestyle. And I had a lot of time with my parents. I don't want to give them any shade at all. But, I have an idea and a vision of what I want with my family growing up. And what I'm trying to do is get myself in the best position for that. And so, as far as in the next 3, my YouTube channel is kind of my long game, with the coaching and getting into their service business and maybe doing, expanding from pressure washing and doing just a program where if you don't know what the hell you want to do in life, I will give you a model, whether you can copy and paste it with pressure washing, landscaping, and whatever, give you the steps on how to go out there and get it from, making no money to something that's at least livable, that you can eat on, right? Something that'll pay your bills, right? So that's kind of that's my long game. The pressure washing is just something I'm just trying to build as a nest egg and cash in at some point and get paid for what I've done. And then, whether I buy a property or so many different things, I have no idea what I would do with it.
No, we're getting you a property real soon.
Yeah, well, I know a realtor and then I know a mortgage guy.
You got a lender too, yeah.
We're also getting you that little slip of land in Marble Falls while we're at it.
Yeah, that was funny how that ended up working out.
But the other thing, how many pre-merger, so last week, how many full-time employees do you have? Or are they all 1099 contractors?
So we have 4 employees now. Or 4, we have 2 trucks and 2 guys on each truck.
Did that scare you when you hired the first person?
Well, I mean, pre-merger?
Yeah, I mean.
So pre-merger.
So when you personally hired the first full-time employee, did you say, ooh, shit, like now I got to make sure that they can eat too?
Well, Well, yeah, and there's so many things that are scary with that. And pre-merger, I did a lot of the work myself, and I have to say, and this is part of the channel too. Like I never, like I've learned. So I'm continuously learning with the channel, but like for the longest time, I thought that, man, I don't know if I want to hire people because they'll never do as good of a job as me. They don't have the same in as me. I have 100% in and ownership. I reap all the benefits with that. And I'll be lucky to find an employee that can do 70 to 80% of good of a job as I can, because I'm not going to pay him crazy. I can't pay him crazy money. You know, we're talking about someone that's washing houses. So they're making $20 to $30 an hour.
Right.
So that person's not going to be as motivated to go out there and do such a kick-ass job as me. So I used that knowledge and I said, man, I can just do all the work myself and just pocket the extra money. The problem is I spent years on the truck. And I think one of the worst things you can do, well, you can kind of take it for what it is, but I think one of the things you need to do quickly if you're in the service business, whether that's plumbing, landscaping, or pressure washing, is if you're a business owner, you've got to quickly get off the truck, because you need to start quickly you need to start doing revenue generating activities. Like when you start wrapping your head around the kind of money you can do in landscaping or pressure washing and what it actually costs to hire someone, you're talking $20 to $30 an hour, you're talking $200 a day worth of labor, and you're somewhat of a business savvy person, you need to get off the truck. Like sometimes I think about like, dude, how much extra money could I have made if I wasn't on the truck and I was just marketing, going out there and just doing my thing. I could pay for someone and I could pay for all the mistakes that they would have possibly made, right? And so that's kind of what I got on. But the problem was I couldn't actually do that much because I was spending so much time in the channel. And so a lot of the channel, the content of me out in the field was propped up by the channel. And so that kind of went hand in hand. Like I needed to be out in the field to make the content for the channel. And so those kind of businesses kind of came up how they were right there. So, but now that we're in the merger, I kind of got into a scenario where they already had multiple trucks, multiple guys. And now, now we're in this, I'm in this business.
I love that theme, get off the truck.
Yeah.
But I feel like all of your time spent doing the work makes you better at managing those people. 'Cause you've seen all the situations. You know what they could run into. But also you had to be there to film it all during the whole journey. Because that's what makes it so authentic.
Yeah, I needed the content.
And you got film crews now. I mean, you've like rented cranes and drones. And
yeah, so I've hired some videographers. Like more recently, we hired some videographers. That was funny too because I made the mistake of not telling a client that we were going to show up with some film crew. And in our terms and conditions, like it says right there that, hey, look, we can film our work on the property for before and afters and marketing purposes. But I came in there with some like guys that had some really nice equipment, 2 guys, and I was showing up on this big, nice like Westlake mansion and whatnot, seeing our guys working, and they were doing some work by this basketball hoop. And I walked by, and Willie called me. He asked me to check up, like basketball checkup. I was like, all right, well, screw it. Put down the power washer and check up. And we played like a little one-on-one to like the first person to score. It's for like 30 seconds.
I saw that TikTok.
Oh, Instagram video, yeah. Well, we get a message from our customer that night, and he sends us his footage from his camera. And he says, Austin, I didn't appreciate how you had a film crew at my property and then playing basketball like this was like some PE class. And I said, I was like, but I was part of me is like, seriously, like you're gonna give me we're over here doing a fantastic job on your property. You're gonna get mad at me shooting a hoop.
Yeah.
But then part of me is like, that was he probably should have known about the camera crew.
Right.
So I took that one on the chin. But
What do you do? How do you answer?
I just said, there's much you can do. What it is, it is. It happened. So I just said, look, I apologize. It is in our terms and conditions. We do a lot of our filming for before and afters and for marketing purposes. That video was actually going to be for my YouTube channel, a YouTube video that's coming out this week. But we're also using a lot of that content for Facebook ads and Google ads. So we took videos of us power washing driveways, washing houses. So I use that content for a lot of stuff. But I just told him, like, look, we use it for marketing purposes. We will anything that has to do with your physical house, we'll just delete that. We won't use any of that content. But I did steal that basketball video. You can't even tell it's his house,
Well, I mean, do you ever say, wow, this is a really good project? Like, hey, homeowner, would you be open to us filming this?
Sure.
I'll give you a discount because I want to use this for an ad later or something.
No,
Do you usually bring it up to them, or is it all just
no, for the most
the
part.
terms?
Well, it's funny. If I have a tripod, there's no problem with that. And I was telling Christian, my partner, I was like, dude, if I just had a tripod that filmed that basketball thing, it wouldn't have been a problem. But the fact, I think he just got spooked because there was these two big camera guys that had these huge contraptions. I mean, like the ones that are on the like this guy had this one that's like a shoulder mounted one, the huge like video DSLR thing. That's like an $8,000 camera.
And I guess in his eyes, he thinks you're just
He
making a
thinks that
joke of the job or something.
I don't know. He just think that there was this huge camera crew there. Like there was something going down on his property.
Mm.
And the other guy had this huge gimbal thing that he was like running around the property like this. And so yeah, it can kind of be like, what the hell,
Mm-hmm.
you know? What can you do?
He probably was just thinking, I'm paying all this money, and these guys are having such a great time.
I mean,
Yeah,
if I was a homeowner in that situation, I'd be like,
Right.
have
but
fun.
Yeah,
What
yeah,
do you-
That's
See,
kind of my
I
point.
saw
It's,
it, and I
it's the
was
type of
like,
person that
good
you're
for
dealing with.
Willie shooting basketballs. I didn't
Yeah.
know his name, but he looks
Yeah.
like a Willie. That
He's
makes
a
sense.
Willie. He's Bohemian.
I want to hang out with Willie.
Willie seems
like
great,
a cool
yeah.
guy.
Seems like, yeah.
He's funny.
How long
Oh.
you been working with Willie?
We just hired him last month.
Oh, Willie's brand
He's
new.
brand new. He's got a lot of experience and he does good work.
Is he a young kid or?
I think it's an old black dude, right?
He's an older black dude. He's like 50,
Right on.
He's like 50 years old. He's from the Bahamas.
I love it.
Oh, it's Bohemian.
Bohemian, yeah.
Oh,
They do great work, man. They live to work, and so he's always asking me about work. Like, I need more work. I need more work.
There you go.
And so we always fill him up, make sure
It's a
he's
good
working.
employee to have.
Yeah.
that's amazing.
Mm-hmm.
What else do we need to know?
Oh, I think we've answered everything.
Austin, you got
got any
anything else
final
you think
thoughts?
we need to cover?
Anything big oncoming?
Yeah. Any upcoming events?
Doing
Charities you're doing?
Doing
parties?
any meetups for your
Specials?
for your coaching clients?
No, man.
Hosting a conference?
I mean, we're continuously.
Another crawfish boil? I'm not going to invite you to?
Well, yeah. Well, we'll have to get you at the next one. I can't believe I dropped the ball on that.
Oh, that's fine. I think I was out of town that weekend anyway. so-
Okay, yeah. But I mean, I don't want to keep talking about things that I'm doing. I mean, look, we're growing the.
That's why
coaching-
you're a guest on our
Okay,
podcast.
well, we're growing the coaching program.
There you go.
We're doing equipment giveaways. Like we just gave away like a brand new piece of power washing equipment, like the ones that are in the back of our trucks. We gave that away to one of our guests in our one of our subscribers in our program. So that's been pretty cool.
Nice.
You know,
What's the value on something like that?
20 grand.
Wow.
Yeah, and so we invested a little bit, and so we use that to prop up the program too.
Sure.
You know, on the YouTube channel, everything makes.
So someone
Makes
got a
sense.
$20,000 power washer just for being a member of the courses and
Yeah.
everything like that.
Yeah.
That's
That's crazy.
fantastic.
So we try to make it the whole value proposition with the program is, you know, one, we try to make it so cheap you'd feel silly saying no.
Right.
Yeah,
Alex,
30 a month.
Alex
shit.
Ramosi talks about that a lot with his
It's like
books.
It's like a gym membership to Planet Fitness.
Yeah, I know that's one of the beautiful things
Yeah.
about Planet Fitness is it's so cheap that
No one would
and
cancel.
90% of its members don't even go. You know how funny that is? Because it takes too much trouble to cancel that membership.
Yep.
I can't even cancel my LA Fitness membership. I still have it. I haven't gone in a year, and they won't cancel it unless I show up there and explain why I want to cancel.
No, exactly. I was on this fitness app that this personal trainer that I knew had, and like it was $30 a month. It wasn't much, but you know, once I started kind of thinking about all my subscriptions I have, and I I reevaluate this like once a year because being a realtor, you get $20 a month to death on all the subscriptions and things.
Oh, yeah.
And I found $400 worth of shit yesterday that I snipped. But I was looking at that fitness app and I was like, I really don't use this. I do the same types of workouts every time I go. Like, sure, I should expand on this, but this app is not helping me. But the only way to cancel it was to email him directly. And I was like, God, I just feel so bad.
Oh, there's
It's like-
another way.
As if he really cares about this $30 a month. But I'm like, he knows me personally.
I know people that cancel or renew all of their credit cards. They'll call their credit card companies and be like, I lost it. And
Yeah.
then like those subscribers can't continue to go after you as long as you're like out of some sort of contract. They can't. So like Planet Fitness or even your app. And then the ones that you don't miss, you probably don't even think about.
Yeah. Well, that's the, you talk about getting attention. I talked about earlier about this, about like monetizing an audience and a channel. Cause I didn't know anything about monetizing a channel. I thought like, man, like the way these YouTubers make money is they just get ad revenue. And sure, these big, huge YouTube people like Mr. Beast and whatnot, they make stupid money on ad revenue. But just, the main revenue generator as a YouTube content creator is some kind of product, like tangible product or service that they sell, whether it's a coaching program, one-on-one coaching, or a course. A lot of courses are huge. Real estate people sell courses on how to do better real estate.
Yes, they do.
I mean, right? I mean, those are the huge money makers, right? And for me, it was like, I just want to come up with that product. I want to give someone a $30 or $50 or $100 a month, or I'm sorry, just flat rate product. And it wasn't until I came across my partner in the program that said, Austin, I think we can do a bit better. And I'm talking just straight from like the monetization side about this. Is just he wanted to go with a monthly thing, and I said, well, I don't know if I want to charge monthly. It comes with a lot of extra responsibilities. You got to make sure you're providing value and whatnot. And the way we just came together and said, oh, look, Austin, you can charge someone a very low monthly rate on something, 15, 20, 30, and it'll just be economies of scale. You can get a lot of people to go for that cheap of a product. And then as long as the value there exceeds the $30 a month, right? I mean, there's no way that you're basically going to get flack on it. Just we'll meet every Wednesday for a 20-minute call, and that's what keeps people around. And so like every Wednesday we have some type of topic call where we'll talk, and then I do one-on-one coaching. And then it's just, every month it just gets more subscribers. And we have a turn rate of like 8%. So I think like 8% of the people that join drop out, which is actually a pretty good from what I've been told.
I would think so.
The group grows every month, and it's actually been one of the best decisions I've made in the last like couple of years, because it's been some serious money for me recently.
So who's your business partner on that? And
Sean,
and what's their line of work?
Yeah, so that's my partner, Sean. He actually controls all of our website and SEO for Activate and United. So he does all that. He's really proficient in Facebook ads, Google ads. He took who's the ClickFunnels guy? I forgot who that dude is, but he took all of his courses on how to make a good funnel, and how all those programs work and how to design a course. And so we just came together and said, hey, look, I know how to do this. You just make the content. I'll put it all into format. Those types of ads that you click on, that you just click on, all of a sudden it follows you on 5 different social media things. And, it's like a bug that won't piss off. He knows how to do all that. And so he's the brains behind all of it. All I did was create the content, and I meet weekly with our people, and I do one-on-one coaching. He has put together the entire program. Like he's on the website, it's all clickable, and it's designed in a certain way where it makes people go through the funnel. You get a free product, right? When you click on my initial ad on Facebook, it goes from, hey, if here's my 8 tips on how to get leads in pressure washing. You get that I give that away for free, right? Once they get that, they get the PDF document. It gives them 8 tips on how to do it for free. Then at the end of that page, it says, hey, if you liked what you saw, consider my program. They go to the program page. They see a 4-minute video, basically, of my miniature story of what happened to me and how I grew my business. And that's the value add. Like, hey, if you want to learn this, and that, what worked for me, you can get in my program. Then the next page, it takes them to, the credit card thing, and they can put in their credit card information. And the next page, they automatically get into the program. So it's like a funnel, It keeps people going to the next page and the next page. So he's like the brains behind all that.
It's amazing.
Wow. Yeah.
And so are y'all 50-50 partners on this?
No, he's a 25% partner.
Oh, wow.
Mm-hmm.
Good deal on that.
He got a good deal on that. I mean, I couldn't have done it without him. Like, dude, like.
No, I mean, I feel like you made it like you
I
made
think
out
I
like
did.
a bandit
I
there.
think I did, but he gets that's some really good money for him, and he doesn't do much of anything now. Like he did lot of work in the very, very beginning, and he's continuing to get paid off on a monthly basis. I'm the one doing most of the monthly work.
Yeah.
Like he does some Facebook ads and stuff, but no, I mean, and that's the thing that right now is, with the courses and whatnot, there's a lot of bad smoke on people that sell courses.
Mm-hmm.
I think I'm a firm believer. I mean, like I said in the beginning, I told my clients or my customers, or I'm sorry, my viewers, that I would never sell them anything. That I was on that mindset for a long time. Then I kind of shifted to, if you got something that's worth money, I do believe you can offer as long as the product delivers And as long as the people get more value from what they paid for the product, and I think that's why people buy anything, they believe that at some point in time, whether it's right now or in the future, they will get more value from that purchase than what it costs for them to spend it.
Yeah,
Like
you
I
don't
have-
want it to feel like a college education.
Yeah, right. But except most people somehow buy those, right?
Right.
And so that's why it was like, man, it just makes people are asking for it. They're like, Austin, give us something, like give us something that we can do, or
Yeah.
give us something that we can go off of, and that's just what made sense to me. And I don't like these guys that are doing these super expensive, like thousands of dollar programs, because like you said, like who we were talking about, Pace. I mean, sometimes this stuff
Pierre
is like.
Maggi.
Or Pierre. I mean, this stuff can get blown way out of proportion. I try to offer something that's very, very cheap that almost everyone can afford, and that's my whole thing.
Yeah,
Dig it.
that's amazing. Yeah,
Anything else you want to wrap up with?
No, I don't. I don't have any. I didn't come in here with any like stick that I wanted to,
This is great.
That's the
implant.
way to do
We
it.
got a lot of shit.
An implant on this, thing.
You just came in as a favor to me,
Yeah, I guess a favor.
as most people do.
I'm more
I
of a
feel like we've got a lot of good content.
I
Yeah,
go
it's
around the world collecting
Good.
favors.
Yeah, I'm more of a service business guy, so I'm not sure people are watching if it kind of.
Well, the
hope-
majority of our our followers are the real estate community.
Yeah, so people are going to be watching it, listening to your tips on
Yeah,
growth.
I
Yeah,
think
but
schemes
more
and
importantly, how many homes do you view from a listing side that
I-
definitely can use a power washing before it
Oh,
pictures and
absolutely. Oh,
everything
yeah.
along those
Oh,
lines,
absolutely.
right? Like,
Yeah.
definitely a great way to get out in front, and we'll make sure that I'll make sure that we Facebook friend request and tag you on everything,
cool.
and get this stuff out to not only your people but the people that are viewing stuff through Chase and I. And
You also began by contacting a lot of agents. in the
Yeah,
beginning.
that's actually a good thing we didn't really cover. So that's how I built. That's one of the big ways I built my business with power washing is real estate agents. I really got after it with real estate agents, and what I would do is I'd go on Platinum Top 50 website. I'd just Google real estate brokerages Austin, every one of them, all the big ones, and I started going to their agent list page, and I downloaded all the things in an Excel spreadsheet, went to a CRM, made a huge group of like 600, 700 realtors, and they started getting my monthly ringless voicemails. Like he gets my ringless voicemails, and Ryan Rodenbeck does, and Cord Shiflett does, and all these huge guys in the real estate business in Austin, and they just, if it doesn't happen the first time, that's what I talk in my program, just stick in their ear. There's going to be a point in time where they're going to need their go-to vendor, and with realtors, what they really, really like, and I know from my mom and a bunch of other people, is they just want someone to save their ass when the time comes. Like, there's nothing more important to a real estate agent when that contractor can come in and just, dude, can you just get this done by this time?
right.
Right? Like, how many times have you been in a scenario where it's like, dude, who's going to come and pick up this haul off this junk? Or who's going to fix this cabinet, right? They got a showing next week. And that's what I keep doing in my ringless voicemails. Like, hey, look, my goal here, I know you don't know me, but I just want to be there whenever, the time comes. I want to be your go-to exterior cleaner. So if there's anything that you need, you got a showing next week, I want to be your go-to guy. Hey, don't forget my information. I'm a phone call away. And they get that message every month or an email every month. And that's kind of how I built my business too.
Hell yeah. Well, we'll make sure we get that exact clip out in front of a bunch of new agents for you.
Yeah. Well, I mean, I'm not sure about new agents, but if you're in the service business, I think realtors are a really great way to market to. Because these are people that talk to all our customers.
New to you, maybe
Yeah.
not new real estate agents, but agents that would be new to you.
Yeah. No, I hear you on that. Yeah. Well, cool, guys.
It's amazing. All right, well, I feel like we have given this a full.
How long have we been going for?
Yeah, well,
Almost 2 hours.
there you go.
Damn.
Look at that.
I think this was awesome. Thank
Anything you want to say before we wrap up? I mean, obviously, Austin,
I made sure to ask some questions so I could get some clips.
I love it. I love it.
Um,
Well, Market on the Rocks. I think this is episode what?
September, October, November, December, January, February, March, April, May. Number 9.
Look at that.
Number
Next one's
9.
going to be number 10. That we'll have a celebration for that, and then that's going to be in the month.
I got Matt Worthington coming next
Here
time.
we go.
You do?
Yeah.
Really? That's so cool.
Who's Matt Worthington?
I met Matt through Austin.
Okay.
They're buddies from long back and still are. And Matt runs a I mean, probably the biggest up and coming networking group of like young entrepreneurs.
Oh, I like that.
He hosts events that have 3,000+ people come to him now.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which is crazy because we were both at his very first one that he hosted
I
in
know.
like the Shady Hollow Pool Club.
Really proud of that.
That had, like,
Really,
15
proud of
people
that-
there.
that
Okay.
kid,
Um,
man.
And
Super
he's
cool.
just a great guy. He's always working on tons of stuff. He had his real estate license at one point.
Do we have our
he's a
theme
salesperson.
for June yet?
We'll figure something out.
Okay. Yeah.
I don't know what holidays happen in June.
My birthday.
There you go.
Well, it'll be in Austin too.
Yeah.
we'll celebrate.
Austin Davis's birthday.
Yeah, we'll celebrate Juneteenth.
Father's Day.
Right on. Well, we did it. Another success. I'll have this one clipped out shortly. Gentlemen, thank you.
Yeah, thanks so much,
And,
Austin.
Thanks, guys.
I gotta head home.
All right, and let's take a group pic from the.